Daniel was not a man who believed in ghosts. He had studied engineering, physics, and navigation all his life. Numbers were his comfort. Machines never lied, and energy readings always told the truth. That was why life on the orbital research station suited him so well. Everything was predictable until it wasn't. It started with something very small. One morning, Daniel noticed his desk chair was moved. It was pushed a little farther back than usual. He thought maybe he had done it himself before going to bed. The next night, the same thing happened, but with his datapad. He remembered placing it on the left side of the table, yet in the morning it was resting on the right. By the third night, he started to feel uneasy. His mug of coffee had been emptied, even though he never drank it. And then there was the scent. It wasn't a bad smell. In fact, it was strangely pleasant. It reminded him of wildflowers from Earth, though he had not been on the planet in years. The orbital station recycled air constantly, leaving the whole place smelling metallic and sterile. So when that faint floral scent drifted across his quarters, it felt completely out of place. At first, Daniel thought maybe the filters were malfunctioning, but when he checked, they were fine. The scent always appeared in his room, and only at night. By the end of the week, he was losing sleep. On the 7th night, Daniel decided he would stay awake and see for himself. He pretended to lie down, closed his eyes halfway, and waited. Hours passed. His clock read 23:58, then 23:59. The humming of the station systems filled the silence. Then, at exactly U00, something happened. The air shimmered near the corner of his room. It was like heat waves bending light, except it was not hot. A soft sound followed, like water being poured slowly into a glass. And then, out of nowhere, a figure appeared. Daniel's heart pounded. He had expected, well, he didn't know what he had expected, but not this. It was a girl. She was not human, at least not completely. Her eyes glowed faint silver, reflecting the dim lights of his quarters. Her skin carried a faint luminescent hue, as if the stars themselves touched her. She looked surprised, almost guilty, when she saw him awake. Daniel sat up quickly. "Who are you?" The girl froze. For a moment she looked like she might vanish, but instead she raised her hand slightly, as if to calm him. Her voice was soft, carrying a strange accent. You were supposed to be asleep." Daniel's mind raced. You teleported in here." "That's impossible. The station is shielded. Who sent you? What are you doing here?" The girl looked at him with wide eyes, then whispered, "Please don't be afraid. I will leave." And just like that, before he could stop her, the air shimmered again and she vanished into thin air. Daniel jumped out of bed, rushing to the spot where she had stood. Nothing remained except the scent, stronger than ever, filling his room like invisible smoke. His hands trembled. This was no dream. The next morning, Daniel reported to his superior officer, Commander Hayes. "With respect, sir," Daniel said, keeping his voice calm, "someone or something is entering my quarters at night. I saw it with my own eyes. It was a girl, but not human. She teleported straight into my room." Commander Hayes gave him a long, tired look. "You've been on this station too long, Daniel. Isolation can play tricks on the mind. You engineers work long hours staring at numbers and screens. Maybe you just need more rest." "I wasn't dreaming," Daniel said firmly. "My sensors picked up energy spikes at exactly midnight. Energy spikes happen all the time. Solar flares, reactor fluctuations." Hayes shook his head. "Look, I'll have medical run a wellness check. That's the best I can do." Daniel clenched his jaw but nodded. He knew arguing further would only make him sound more unstable. That night he decided to gather proof. Daniel set up small motion sensors around his room. He adjusted his datapad to run continuous scans of the local energy field. He even placed a recording device at the edge of his bed. By the time the clock neared midnight, he was ready. Once again, the air rippled. His heart pounded as the girl appeared, exactly as before. Her glowing eyes widened when she saw the equipment. "You set traps for me," she whispered. Daniel raised his hand. "I don't want to hurt you. I just want answers." "Who are you? Why are you in my room every night?" For a long moment she didn't speak. Then she stepped closer, her movements smooth, graceful, like flowing water. The scent followed her, stronger now, almost clinging to the air. "My name is Lyra," she said softly. "I did not mean to frighten you. I come because—" "I cannot stay away," Daniel blinked. "Stay away from what? From me?" Lyra nodded slowly, her silver eyes never leaving his. You're kind. You resonate. I feel it even across the stars. Every night I find myself here drawn to you. Daniel's breath caught. That makes no sense. Humans don't resonate. Her lips curved into a faint smile. Not in your words, but in mine it is truth. Daniel studied her carefully. She looked almost human, but not entirely. Her features were too perfect, her skin too smooth. Yet she didn't feel threatening. If anything, she seemed almost fragile, despite her ability to teleport through barriers. Why me? He asked at last. I do not know, she admitted. But when I leave, I still feel you. And so I return. The word sent a chill down his spine. She wasn't breaking into his room for theft, sabotage, or spying. She was compelled. Daniel glanced at the sensors. They were recording everything. Her energy signature, her presence, her voice. Proof. But as he looked back at her, something in her expression stopped him. She looked at him not like an intruder caught in the act, but like someone desperate, someone afraid of being misunderstood. Lyra tilted her head, almost shy. Do you wish me to stop coming? Daniel hesitated. He should say yes. He should tell her to leave and never return. That would be the smart, safe choice. But instead, the words caught in his throat. I don't know yet. For the first time, she smiled fully, and the room seemed brighter. Then, without warning, she vanished again. Daniel sat on the edge of his bed long after she left, staring at the faint traces of light her teleportation left behind. His datapad beeped, showing abnormal readings, energy distortions unlike anything recorded before. He had proof now, but more importantly, he had questions. Who was she really? What did she mean by resonance? Why him, and most of all, why did part of him hope she would come back? The scent still lingered, soft and strange, a reminder that what had happened was real. Daniel lay back, unable to sleep, his mind turning in endless circles. Tomorrow he would decide what to do. But tonight he knew one thing for certain. He was no longer alone. Daniel spent the whole day restless. The memory of Lyra's silver eyes haunted him, and the strange floral scent clung faintly to his clothes, even though he had recycled the air in his quarters twice. He had proof on his datapad, energy spikes, visual fragments, audio recordings. It was everything a scientist like him could want, and yet, he hesitated. He should report it. He should send the data to Commander Hayes and let the station's science team study it. But something deep inside told him that doing so might put Lyra in danger. She hadn't attacked him, hadn't stolen anything, hadn't shown hostility. Instead, she had spoken softly, almost with longing, saying she was drawn to him. Why? That question burned in his mind all day. When the night came, Daniel found himself waiting again, though part of him feared she might not return. The station's clock ticked toward midnight. Daniel sat upright in his bed, his datapad recording quietly beside him. The lights were dim, casting long shadows across his quarters. The hum of machinery filled the silence. Then, just like before, the air rippled. Lyra appeared, her form solidifying from streams of light and sound. She blinked when she saw him awake and waiting. You did not sleep, she said gently. Daniel shook his head. I couldn't. I need answers, Lyra. Her silver eyes softened. She stepped closer, her movements slow, careful, like she was afraid of startling him. The scent followed her, filling the room once again. You already know my name, she whispered. What else do you wish to know? Daniel leaned forward. How are you doing this? How are you entering my room? No one can just teleport through the station's shields. She tilted her head slightly as if thinking of the right words. It is not teleportation as you call it. My people. We fold space. We slip through the distance between 2 points. It is as natural to us as breathing. Daniel's eyes widened. Fold space? That's impossible for humans. We can't even manage stable wormholes. Do you mean your kind can do this without machines? Yes, Lyra said simply. It is part of us. We feel the threads of the universe and we move along them. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. It was beyond anything he had studied, beyond the reach of all human technology. Then why here? Why me? Lyra looked away for a moment, almost shy. Because you resonate. Humans do. But you, more strongly than the rest. He frowned. Resonate? You keep saying that, but I don't understand. What does it mean? She met his eyes again, her voice low and serious. Everything in the universe has a sound. Not one you hear with ears, but one you feel with the soul. My kind are sensitive to these sounds. Most species hum softly, faint and distant. But humans, your song is bright, sharp, alive. It is unlike anything else. When I am near it, I cannot turn away. Daniel stared at her, stunned. So, you're saying humans give off some kind of signal? Like energy? Not energy, Lyra corrected gently. Something deeper. It is why I come here. I cannot ignore it. Every time I leave, I still feel it pulling me back. It is strongest with you. Daniel felt his throat tighten. Part of him wanted to dismiss it as nonsense, yet the sincerity in her voice made it impossible to doubt. But why me more than other humans? He asked quietly. Lyra's eyes lowered. I do not know. Perhaps you are tuned to my song as I am to yours. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Daniel did not fully understand. He decided to change the subject before his heart could beat out of his chest. Your people, do they know you're here? That you've been visiting me? Her expression shifted instantly. Her glow dimmed slightly and her silver eyes flickered with fear. No, they must not know. Why? They forbid contact with humans, Lyra whispered. You are hidden from them. My people fear what you are. Daniel felt a chill crawl down his spine. Fear us? But why? We're not even advanced compared to you. We don't fold space. We're still stuck with ships that crawl between the stars. That is why, she said softly. You are young, yet your resonance is strong. Too strong. My elders say if humans spread too far, your sound will drown out others. They will not allow it. Daniel's stomach turned. If her people discovered humanity, would they try to silence them forever? He leaned closer, his voice tense. So if they find out you've been here, they will erase all traces, Lyra said, her voice barely audible, including you. The words hit him like a punch. For the first time, he realized how much danger he was in, not just from Lyra, but from those who might follow her. Yet when he looked at her, he saw not a threat but someone caught between two worlds, someone risking everything just to be near him. Daniel sat back slowly, trying to process. So every night when you leave, you're marking my room with that scent, aren't you? That's not just a smell. It's something more. Lyra froze. For a moment she looked almost guilty. You noticed, she whispered. Yes, it is not perfume. It is an imprint. My kind use it to navigate, to remember. It is how I find you again, even across space. It is my anchor. Daniel's breath caught. That meant the scent wasn't just harmless. If her people detected it, they would know exactly where she had been. You're putting me in danger, he said quietly. Her silver eyes flickered with sorrow. I know. And yet, I still come. Daniel should have told her to stop. He should have demanded she never return, for both their sakes. But when he opened his mouth, the words would not come. Instead, he asked, what happens if your people track you here? She looked down, her glowing hands trembling slightly. Then it will not only be me who suffers. They will erase this station, this crew, everyone, to hide the truth. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He thought of Commander Hayes, of the hundreds of men and women aboard the station. They had no idea they were standing on the edge of danger, and yet strangely he did not feel anger toward Lyra. Only pity. She hadn't wanted this either. Silence stretched between them. Then softly, Daniel spoke. You risk everything, just to be here. Why? Her eyes lifted, meeting his. Because I feel alive near you. Because your song, makes the universe brighter, because I cannot help it." Daniel swallowed hard. The sincerity in her voice shook him more than her strange powers or her secrets. He realized then that she wasn't just an intruder. She was a warning, a fragile bridge between two worlds, and now that she had chosen him, he was caught in something far larger than himself. That night, when she vanished again, Daniel sat in the silence of his quarters. His datapad beeped, showing recordings of everything: the energy spikes, her voice, her form flickering into existence. Proof. He could hand it over, let humanity know what he had discovered. But at what cost? If her people learned, if they came searching, humanity might not survive the encounter. He stared at the faint traces of her scent, still lingering in the air. He should be afraid. Instead, he felt something else, a strange, heavy mix of wonder, fear, and something that almost felt like longing. For the first time in his life, Daniel knew he was standing at the edge of a secret too great to keep, but too dangerous to share. And when midnight came tomorrow, he knew she would return again and he would be waiting. Daniel tried to live normally after his late-night conversations with Lyra, but there was nothing normal about his life anymore. Every day felt heavier, every step filled with the weight of a secret no one else could imagine. He worked at the engineering bay as usual, repairing energy converters and checking reactor balance, but his mind kept drifting back to her silver eyes, her glowing presence, and her quiet words. She had warned him that her people must not know about her visits. She had said they would erase everything if they found out, and now Daniel was starting to believe her, because something was happening on the station, something strange. The unwanted signals. It began with a quiet alarm on his console. While checking reactor flow, Daniel noticed a faint reading in the background, low-level transmissions bouncing across the shield perimeter. They weren't coming from the station itself. They were coming from outside. At first, he thought it was normal interference, but as he studied the signals, his stomach tightened. They repeated in a pattern, slow and careful, as if searching for something. Daniel tapped his datapad, running a deeper scan. The readings lined up with the nights Lyra had visited him. Each time she appeared, the faint floral scent filled his room, and each time the next day, strange signals brushed against the station's shields. It wasn't a coincidence. Someone or something was looking for her. The midnight visit that night, Daniel was more anxious than ever. He sat in his quarters, sensors running quietly, eyes locked on the clock as it crept toward midnight. When the air shimmered, his heart jumped. Lyra appeared, her glowing form solidifying in the corner of the room. She looked calm at first, but then her expression shifted when she saw his face. "You are troubled," she said gently. Daniel stood up. "Lyra, listen to me. I think your people are searching for you. I've been picking up signals outside the station. They happen right after you visit. They're tracking you." Her silver eyes widened, the glow around her body dimming. "No," she whispered. "Not yet. They should not be here yet," Daniel frowned. "So you know what I'm talking about?" Lyra lowered her head. "Yes, the elders have sent hunters. They seek the resonance trail I leave behind." Daniel's chest tightened. "The scent," she nodded slowly. "It is more than memory. It is a mark. To me it guides the way back. But to them it is proof of my crime." Daniel felt anger spark inside him. "Crime visiting me is a crime?" "In their eyes, yes," she whispered. "Because humans must remain hidden. Because your resonance is dangerous." Daniel clenched his fists. "We've done nothing to deserve that. We don't even know your people exist. That is why they fear you," she said softly. "The unknown is always feared." The choice. Daniel paced the room, his mind racing. "If they find this station, if they find you, they'll erase us." "Won't they?" Lyra looked at him with sorrowful eyes. "Yes, they will erase all evidence. Every human here." Daniel stopped walking. The weight of her words pressed down on him like iron. Hundreds of people lived on this station. They laughed, they worked, they dreamed of Earth, never knowing that death might come at any moment from beyond the stars. He turned back to her. "Then why do you keep coming here, Lyra? You're putting us all in danger." Her voice trembled, almost breaking. "Because I cannot stay away. Even knowing the risk, even knowing what could happen, I still return." Daniel felt his chest tighten, torn between fear and something deeper, something he dared not name. "You have to stop," he said at last. If your people find out, if they follow you here, they already search, she interrupted softly. It may be too late. The first sign of danger. The next day, Daniel noticed the station's AI running extra diagnostics. The systems flagged foreign contamination in his section, faint traces of unusual molecules in the air, the floral scent. Daniel's heart pounded as he read the report. If Commander Hayes saw this, if the security team investigated, they would start asking questions. And if they uncovered the truth, they might send the data outward, broadcasting it to Allied fleets. That was exactly what Lyra's people would detect. He had to act fast. Daniel altered the logs, rerouting the contamination alert to show a minor glitch in the recycling filters. It wasn't a permanent fix, but it would buy time. Still, he knew he couldn't keep hiding her forever. That night, when Lyra appeared again, he didn't waste time. You left traces, he said sharply. The station's systems are picking it up. The AI already flagged my room. If someone investigates, they'll find you. Her expression fell. She looked almost guilty. I did not mean to endanger you. I thought my marks would stay invisible to your machines. Well, they're not, Daniel said firmly. If the AI can detect them, your people definitely can. Lyra bit her lip, glowing faintly in the dim light. Then I will erase them. Daniel blinked. Erase them? She nodded. I can draw them back into myself. It will weaken me, but it may hide the trail. He hesitated. And if it doesn't work? Her voice lowered. Then the hunters will come. Secrets between them. Daniel studied her, torn between logic and instinct. Logic told him to report everything, her visits, the signals, the danger to the station. But instinct told him that doing so would doom her. He thought about the way she looked at him, the way her voice softened when she said she couldn't stay away. He thought about her fear of her own people, the way she carried sorrow in her glowing eyes. For reasons he couldn't explain, he found himself protecting her instead of exposing her. Fine, he said at last. Do what you can to erase the traces, but after that, you can't come here anymore. Her eyes widened, pain flashing across her face. You mean? I must leave you. Daniel forced himself to nod. It's too dangerous. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she turned away slightly, her glow dim. If that is what you wish, I will obey. Daniel's chest ached at her words. He wanted to take them back, to say something kinder. But fear of what might happen kept him silent. The hunters close in. 2 days later, the signals grew stronger. Daniel monitored them secretly from the engineering bay, his datapad hidden beneath layers of coding. The hunters were getting closer. Their pattern was more focused now, zeroing in on the station's orbit. Daniel felt his throat tighten. They didn't have much time. That night he waited again, unsure if Lyra would return. Part of him hoped she wouldn't. Part of him hoped she would. At midnight the air shimmered and she appeared. But this time her glow was weaker, her step slower. You tried to erase the traces, Daniel said softly. Yes, she whispered, her voice thin. I pulled back as much as I could, but it drained me. And still, they follow. Daniel swallowed hard. Then we need another plan. Her silver eyes lifted to his. Do you mean, you still want me here? He hesitated, then nodded. If you're going to be in danger anyway, I won't let you face it alone. For the first time in days, she smiled faintly, and the glow around her brightened just a little. But deep down, Daniel knew things were spiraling out of control. The hunters were closing in. The station was unknowingly caught in the crossfire, and he was standing at the center of it all, bound to an alien girl who had chosen him without reason, without logic, only resonance, the burden of knowledge when she vanished again. Daniel sat in the silence of his quarters, his datapad glowing faintly in his hands. He had all the proof anyone would need, energy scans, recordings, data logs, enough to make him famous, to put his name in every history book. But instead of pride, he felt fear, because proof meant exposure. Exposure meant discovery. And discovery meant destruction. The dangerous secret was his alone to carry. He looked at the empty space where Lyra had stood, the air still faint with her scent. For the first time in his life, Daniel wished he had never found the truth. And yet he knew he would wait again tomorrow night, because she would come back and because he wanted her to. The orbital station had always felt like a safe place to Daniel. It was far from Earth, far from politics, far from wars, a quiet outpost for science and research. But now every corridor felt heavy. Every shadow felt dangerous. He knew something no one else did, something that could decide the future of the entire human race. The hunters were coming. The warning signs. Daniel spent the morning hidden inside the engineering bay, watching the readings on his datapad. The signals outside the station had grown stronger. No longer faint echoes, they were now sharp pulses that scratched at the shield perimeter like claws. They weren't random anymore. They were coordinated, systematic. Daniel's hands shook as he ran the numbers. The hunters had arrived in the system. They were searching close now, moving in patterns that boxed the station from multiple sides. It was only a matter of time before they detected Lyra's resonance trail, or worse, before they realized humans had been hiding from them. Commander Hayes had no idea. The crew went about their duties laughing in the mess hall, talking about Earth news, fixing broken systems, completely unaware of the danger creeping closer. Daniel felt the weight of the secret pressing harder than ever. Midnight meeting. That night, Daniel didn't just wait. He prepared. He cleared his desk, set up every sensor he had, and adjusted the station's energy grid to mask power spikes in his room. If the hunters were scanning, he didn't want them tracing her visit. At exactly midnight, the air shimmered again. Lyra appeared, though her glow was faint, her shoulders tense. She looked at him with worried eyes even before he spoke. "They're here," Daniel said immediately. Her lips parted slightly. "You are certain?" "I've been monitoring the signals all day. They're not probing from far away anymore. They're right on top of us. It's only a matter of time before they detect you. Or worse, detect us." Her glow dimmed. "Then we must act quickly. The hunters will not leave until they are satisfied. And satisfaction for them means silence." Daniel's voice grew sharp. "You mean they'll destroy the station?" "Yes," she admitted, her voice trembling. "If they confirm my visits, if they detect your resonance, they will erase it all." Daniel clenched his fists. "There has to be a way to hide you, to hide your trail." She hesitated, then stepped closer. "Perhaps not hide, but mislead. The hunters follow the marks I left behind. If we can scatter false trails, they will chase shadows instead of you." Daniel's eyes lit up. "False trails? Yes, we can use the station's power grid. If I reroute the energy spikes, I can mimic your resonance pattern in other sectors. I can make it look like you've been all over this system." Her silver eyes widened. "You would do that for me?" "Not just for you," Daniel said firmly. "For everyone on this station. For humanity." The plan, they worked quickly. Daniel pulled up the station's systems, typing furiously, redirecting power surges into shield harmonics that bent outward into space. Lyra stood beside him, focusing her energy, showing him how her resonance worked. It was like painting with invisible light. Daniel created false echoes, scattering them across nearby orbits, each one carrying the faint pattern of her scent. Soon the system was dotted with false trails, confusing and chaotic. The hunters would see them as real, but the effort was draining. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead, his eyes burning from staring at the datapad too long. "That's all I can do. If they're scanning, this should keep them busy." Lyra reached out, her glowing hand brushing close to his, though not touching. "You are remarkable, Daniel. Your kind has no gift for folding space, yet you twist my song into something even I could not have imagined." Daniel gave a weak smile. "We humans are good at improvising. It's kind of our thing." The hunters close in. The next day, Daniel checked the signals again. The hunters had shifted course, breaking into smaller groups, chasing the false trails. His plan had worked, at least for now. But as he studied the readings, a new problem emerged. The hunters weren't only chasing the trails, they were analyzing them. And the longer they studied, the greater the chance they would realize the patterns were artificial. Daniel's stomach tightened. He had bought time, but not safety. That night, when Lyra appeared again, her glow was weaker still. She looked exhausted, her shoulders heavy. "You're fading," Daniel said softly. She nodded. "Erasing my traces took much of my strength. And each night I fold space, I risk collapse. Still I come." Daniel felt a pang in his chest. "Why put yourself through this?" Her silver eyes met his. "Because you chose to protect me. Because no one else ever has." Daniel looked away, his throat tight. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words caught. "The crew begins to notice." The following evening, Commander Hayes made an announcement in the mess hall. "Attention, crew. The station has been detecting unusual signals in our sector. We believe it may be rogue satellites or interference. But until we confirm, all departments are on alert. Engineers double-check the shield systems. Scientists monitor long-range scans. Everyone stays sharp. The crew murmured nervously, but no one suspected the truth. No one but Daniel. He kept his face neutral, eating his ration quietly, but inside his mind was burning. The hunters were getting closer. If the commander ordered a signal burst to Earth, it could expose everything. That night, he told Lyra, "If they send a report back home, your people will detect it." Daniel whispered, "We can't let them broadcast." Lyra looked pained. "Then you must stop them. Delay them, misdirect them, until the hunters leave." Daniel rubbed his forehead. That's easier said than done. The silent decision the next days blurred together. Daniel worked long hours in engineering, secretly altering the station's systems, making sure every scan they sent out looked normal, hiding irregularities in the shield harmonics. At night, Lyra appeared weaker each time, but still determined. She helped him refine the false trails, guiding him with her knowledge of resonance. One night, as they worked side by side, Daniel asked, "If your people find out I'm the one doing this, what happens?" Her silver eyes dimmed. "Then you will be erased first." Daniel gave a tired laugh. That's comforting, but deep inside he didn't laugh. He knew she was telling the truth. The hunters break through on the 5th day. The signal spiked sharply. Daniel's datapad flashed warnings. The hunters had detected inconsistencies in the false trails. They had realized something was wrong. "They're converging again," Daniel muttered, his hands shaking as he stared at the readings. "They're coming back toward the station." That night when Lyra appeared, she looked frightened for the first time. Truly frightened. "They know," she whispered. "They will come here soon." Daniel stood, his jaw tight. "Then we'll have to fight back." "We can't let them find you." She shook her head. "You cannot fight them. Their ships are too strong. Your weapons will not matter." "Maybe not weapons," Daniel said, thinking quickly. "But maybe one last trick." The final trick. Daniel pulled up the station's energy grid again, fingers flying across the datapad. "If I overload the outer shield harmonics, I can create a massive burst of false resonance, like a supernova of your scent. It'll scatter across the whole system. The hunters won't know what's real anymore." Lyra's eyes widened. "It might work, but it will burn your systems." "The station will lose power," Daniel nodded grimly. "Better a blackout than extinction." Together they worked through the night, preparing the system for the burst. Lyra gave him guidance, showing him how to shape the resonance signature so it looked natural. Daniel rigged the power conduits, ready to release them all at once. When everything was set, Daniel sat back, exhausted. "Tomorrow, when they get too close, that's when we trigger it." Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes soft. "You risk everything for me, for your people. You are unlike any being I have ever known." Daniel gave a weak smile. "That's humans for you. We're stubborn." The shadow over the station the next morning, the hunters closed in. Daniel could feel it even without the sensors. The air seemed heavier, the station's corridors quieter. No one else knew the danger pressing in from the dark. Only Daniel and Lyra, that night. As the lights dimmed across the station, Daniel sat at his console, his finger hovering over the trigger for the resonance burst. His heart pounded. His throat was dry. Lyra stood beside him, her glow faint but steady. "If this works, they will scatter. But if it fails," Daniel nodded, "then this station won't see another sunrise." The clock ticked toward midnight. The signals outside grew sharper, closer. The hunters had arrived. Daniel sat at the console, sweat trickling down his temple. The station hummed with a tension he had never felt before. Outside, dark space stretched endlessly, silent but alive with danger. The hunters had arrived, their signals sharp and precise. Every sensor, every monitor screamed warning. He took a deep breath and glanced at Lyra. She stood beside him, faintly glowing, silver eyes fixed on the display, her energy trembling with anticipation. "Are you ready?" he asked. She nodded, though her shoulders shook slightly. "If we do this, there is no turning back." "You will risk everything." "I know," Daniel said. His fingers hovered over the trigger that would release the station's final defense. A burst of artificial resonance, designed to scatter her scent and mislead the hunters completely. Better a chance to survive than certain death. The first hunter ship appeared on the radar, a sleek vessel with dark hulls, moving silently but purposefully toward the station. More followed, their numbers growing in minutes. Daniel could feel the tension like a physical weight pressing on his chest. "Now," he whispered. Lyra closed her eyes and extended her hands, folding space to amplify the resonance burst. Daniel hit the trigger. The station's shields flared with energy, ripples spreading outward like a shockwave. Immediately, the false resonance trails ignited across the surrounding space, each one mimicking Lyra's presence. The hunter's sensors lit up with the signals, confusing them instantly. Ships veered, chased the shadows, and collided with each other in panic. The energy signature was everywhere and yet nowhere. It was as if the hunters were trapped in a labyrinth of light and sound they could not escape. Daniel felt the station shake under the strain. Warning sirens screamed. Lights flickered. The power grid strained to its limit. But the burst worked. The retreat through the sensors, Daniel watched the hunters' formations break apart. They scanned frantically, following the false signals, unable to discern what was real. One by one, they moved away, retreating from the station to follow the illusions he and Lyra had created. "They're leaving!" He shouted, disbelief and relief mixing in his voice. Lyra opened her eyes, her glow brightening with a soft luminescence. "For now, but they will remember this station. They will return eventually." Daniel sank into his chair, exhausted. He could hardly believe they had succeeded. The station's systems were in turmoil, but humanity had survived for the moment. Aftermath. The station lights stabilized slowly, and Daniel checked the power conduits. Minimal damage thanks to careful rerouting, but the energy surge had left the engines temporarily offline. He would spend days repairing the systems, but he didn't care. Lyra was safe. The hunters had been misled. She floated closer to him, her silver eyes filled with something between gratitude and relief. "You saved us." "All of us," she said softly. Daniel gave a tired smile. "We saved each other." She tilted her head. "I do not belong here. If my people find me again, they will come with more ships, more power. You cannot protect me forever." "I know," Daniel said quietly. "But until then I will do what I can." She studied him, her gaze deep and unwavering. "You are different from any human I have known. Clever, brave, and full of choices I did not expect." Daniel felt his heart tighten. "Maybe humans are full of surprises," he said with a faint grin. A choice for the first time, Lyra spoke something more personal. "I could stop coming. I could hide for the rest of my life, away from you and from the humans. But I want to choose my own path. I want to be near you. Even if it is dangerous." Daniel's breath caught. He had known from the beginning that her visits were unusual, but he hadn't realized how deeply she had chosen him. "You could vanish," he said carefully. "Return to your people. Live safely." "I could," she whispered. "But I won't. Not because of your instructions, not because of your protection, but because I choose to. You and your kind, you resonate in ways my people cannot comprehend. I wish to witness it, to be part of it." Daniel felt a rush of emotion he could not name. Pride, fear, wonder, all mixed together. He realized that humans were not just strong, clever, or adaptable. In moments like this, they were unpredictable, bold, and alive in ways the galaxy had never seen. Humanity's secret the next few days passed cautiously. Daniel repaired systems, monitored sensors, and maintained the station's shielding. Lyra remained hidden, appearing only when necessary, conserving her energy, and helping him refine the resonance trails. Yet something remarkable had changed. Daniel saw clearly now that humanity itself carried a secret strength. Their resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability were not just survival skills. They were traits that could affect the universe. Even beings like Lyra, capable of folding space and sensing cosmic resonance, had never fully understood the unpredictability and potential of humans. "They underestimate you," Lyra said one evening, her silver glow soft in the dim light of the observation deck. "Your people, they do not realize what humans are capable of." Daniel looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth, the billions of humans alive and unaware, the countless innovations yet to come. "Maybe they will learn someday," he said. "But for now it's up to us to survive, to prove that humanity is more than they imagine." She smiled faintly. "Yes. Humanity's echo is stronger than even the universe suspects." A bond formed, Over the next weeks, Daniel and Lyra formed a silent understanding. She would come, not because she had to, but because she chose to. He would protect her, not because it was expected, but because he recognized her courage and the trust she placed in him. Their bond was quiet, unspoken, yet profound. Two beings from entirely different worlds united in a shared goal, survival and secrecy. Every night when she appeared, the familiar floral scent lingered in his room. It was a reminder of her presence, yes, but also of the extraordinary connection they shared, something beyond logic, beyond science, beyond the limits of either species. Looking forward, Daniel knew the hunters would return eventually. Lyra's people were patient and their reach spanned the stars. But he also knew something new. Humanity had potential, ingenuity, and resilience that could withstand even the most advanced threats. The orbital station was quiet now, the hum of the engines a soft reassurance. Daniel sat back, exhausted but determined. He looked at the stars, thinking of Earth, of human achievements, and of the choices yet to come. Lyra appeared beside him, faint glow illuminating the room. "Will you stay with me?" she asked. Daniel nodded, feeling a calm certainty. "I will, until the end of this battle, and beyond." She smiled, a glow bright and steady now, her resonance mingling with his in ways he could feel but not fully understand. They were no longer just a human and an alien. They were partners in survival, witnesses to the beginning of something far larger than either of them. The beginning of a new chapter as dawn approached over distant planets and stars. Daniel realized the truth: humanity was no longer hidden. Not entirely. Their strength, ingenuity, and unpredictability were being witnessed, even if only by one alien girl who chose to believe in them. And perhaps that was enough. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and wonders. But Daniel knew as he watched Lyra's silver eyes reflect the starlight, that humanity had begun its first secret steps into the wider universe. And maybe, just maybe, humans themselves were the greatest unknown of all. The night air of the orbital station carried the faint scent of flowers. Her scent, a signature of presence, choice, and trust. A reminder that even in the vast silence of space, life, courage, and connection could leave their mark.